Hi, Grade 6. Today we want to start Unit 3, which is called the universe. Let's talk about lesson number 1, which is called the solar eclipse. All of us know that the sun emits heat and light. And also, you know that light travels in straight lines in grade 5. But when a dark object gets in the way of sunlight, it blocks a part of the sunlight, forming a shadow for this object. So, the shadow is formed when a dark object gets in the way of the light and blocks a part of it. Okay. The formation of a shadow of a tree in a sunny morning when it gets in the way of sunlight. It's an example of the shadow which is formed because the tree blocks some of the sunlight, and this forming the shadow of the tree when it gets in the way of the sunlight. The formation of a shadow of a celestial body like our moon on Earth, when it lies on one straight line between the sun and the Earth and blocks sunlight from Earth. In this case also, there is a formation of a shadow of the moon on the Earth, when the moon lies on one straight line between the sun and the Earth. Of course, the moon will block the sunlight from the Earth, and the formation of the moon will happen on the Earth. This phenomena is called solar eclipse. This is called solar eclipse. So, what is the solar eclipse? It's an astronomical phenomenon. Astronomical means something related with the sky, with the space. And this happens when the Earth, moon, and sun are nearly on one straight line with the moon in the middle. If the moon, sun, earth, all of them on one straight line and the moon is in the middle, in this case solar eclipse is happening. Look at this drawing. Look at this drawing. Here, you know that the moon revolves around the Earth in an oval orbit. And both of them revolve around the sun. So, maybe the moon, the sun, the Earth, all of them become in one straight line, on one straight line. In this case, solar eclipse is happened. Solar eclipse is seen in the morning only. The Earth revolves around the sun in an oval orbit. At the same time, the moon revolves around the Earth in a smaller oval orbit. Sometimes, during the rotation of the Earth and the moon comes between the sun and the Earth in one straight line, casting its shadow on the Earth and preventing the sunlight from reaching the Earth. This is the solar eclipse. To explain how the solar eclipse is formed, Put a tennis ball at the moon, represent the moon, between a big light source which represents the sun, and a screen which represents the earth. Here is solar eclipse like this example. Tennis ball here like the moon, the light source like the sun, and the screen represents the earth. The tennis ball and the light source and the screen in one straight line. What will happen? As you see, a shadow of the tennis ball is formed on the screen. When the tennis ball blocks some of the light, but there is not only one shadow, there are two shadows. Dark inner shadow is called umbra, and outer faint shadow or semi-shadow, which is called penumbra. So, the observation here that the formation of a real shadow area, which is called cone shadow and it's called umbra, in which you can't see the light source at all. And also, the formation of a semi-shadow area between the lighted area and the real shadow area, and is called penumbra, in which you will see part of the light source only. Okay, when the moon comes between Earth and Sun, but nearer to the Earth, during its rotation in its oval orbit, it appears equal in size to the Sun. So, it blocks the sunlight totally from the area of the Earth that lies in the umbra area of the moon, forming total solar eclipse. Again, when the moon comes between Earth and Sun, but the moon is nearer to the Earth during its rotation in its oval orbit. You know that the orbit is not circle orbit, it's an oval orbit. So maybe the moon is closer to the Earth, nearer to the Earth during its rotation. Here it appears equal in size to the Sun. So it blocks the sunlight totally, forming the area of the Earth that lies in the umbra area of the moon, forming total solar eclipse. And this is the shape of the total solar eclipse. Case number 2, maybe the moon blocks the sunlight partially from the area of the Earth that lies in the penumbra area of the moon, forming partial solar eclipse. So if the moon blocks all the sunlight, total solar eclipse will be happened. If the moon blocks part of the sunlight, partial solar eclipse will be happened. And this is the shape of the partial solar eclipse. You know that the cone umbra, as we said, umbra is the dark inner shadow area in which the total solar eclipse appears. So the total solar eclipse appears in the umbra, dark inner shadow. What about the penumbra? It's the faint outer shadow area in which the partial solar eclipse appears. So, the partial solar eclipse appears in the penumbra. the outer faint shadow. When the moon comes between the earth and the sun, but not nearer from the earth, no, farther from the earth, يعني in a higher orbit from the earth, it appears smaller than the sun. And this causes an annular solar eclipse. Annular solar eclipse, in which the sun appears as a lightning ring. Just you see a lightning ring. So the conclusion that the solar eclipse phenomena occur when the moon passes between the sun, and earth, casting its shadow on the earth's surface. Type of the solar eclipse changes according to the distance between the moon and the earth during its rotation in its oval orbit around the earth. We have 3 types of the solar eclipse: total solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, and annular solar eclipse. What the difference between them? Total solar eclipse is the type of solar eclipse in which we cannot see the sun completely, and it's formed in the shadow area, umbra, of the moon. What about the partial solar eclipse? It's a type of solar eclipse in which we can see part of the sun, and it's formed in the semi-shadow area, which is called penumbra of the moon. What about the annular solar eclipse? It's a type of solar eclipse in which the sun appears as a lighted ring, and it's formed when the moon is in a higher orbit from the earth. Give reason why the type of solar eclipse differs according to the movement of the moon in front of the sun. The answer: due to the part of the sun that the moon hides during its passage in front of the sun. The moon may hide all the sunlight. The moon may hide part of the sunlight. Okay, the solar eclipse phenomena doesn't last more than 7 minutes and 40 seconds, okay? What are the safety precautions on observing the solar eclipse? What should we do when we want to see the solar eclipse? Number 1, we must not look directly at the sun in ordinary days. We can't see the solar eclipse also by using our naked eyes without using special glasses. Give reason. We must not look directly at the sun. Why? Because the sun emits harmful rays as ultraviolet rays and infrared rays that affect the eye and may cause blindness within few minutes. Why doctor advise us to use special glasses to observe the solar eclipse? Why we can't see the solar eclipse with our naked eyes without using these special glasses? The answer: because the outer solar corona emits ultraviolet rays and infrared rays, which are very dangerous to our eyes. I hope you understand this lesson. Solar eclipse, it's a new lesson and very interesting one. Try to study it well, and also try to answer worksheet number 5 by yourself. Goodbye.